at hand, I'd have your passport number, your national insurance number, what you spent in the last few months. We got arrested, they interviewed us, and they didn't have nothing on me. At one time, we even had Princess Diana's credit card did, so obviously we didn't want MI5 after us. I think I actually thought I was the Sultan of Brunei.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the BlueTick Show, Season 2, all about crime. Opposite me today, we've got Saqib Mumtaz, the man who impersonated the Sultan of Brunei and stole millions from an international jewellers. Welcome to the show.
Hello there, mate. How are you doing?
How are you? Forget about Brilliant. Me. You're the guest. You're the man.
Welcome to Manchester.
It's all right up here. We've flown down to Manchester and you've welcomed us with open arms. Thank you. So listen, people who have just heard that introduction are probably thinking, what in the world? Because when you Google the Sultan of Brunei and you see billionaire, one of the world's richest men, I think he was the world's richest man, no?
Yeah, absolutely. He still may be, I mean, that wealth it's not countable. You just don't know. It's a generational wealth. So he probably still is.
He must be worth what?
Trillions.
Literally, the family
absolutely.
Must be worth trillions. So look, as much as we want to dive straight into that story, I want to throw it a little bit back and obviously learn about you yourself, what you've done, what got you into that line of business and how you ended up pulling off such a amazing, to some people, job.
Right, well, I was born in Manchester.
Yeah.
My parents are from Pakistan. And it was, straight away when I was born, I was premature, yeah. So I remember they said to my father, it's a 50-50.
Really?
Yeah, my mum, she had a load of miscarriages. There's a 12-year gap between me and my brother.
Oh, wow.
So I think I was 2 months premature, and they said to my dad, look, it's 50-50, what do you want to do? And luckily for me, they went with it, and I was born, and I think even then I was restless.
Yeah.
I mean, I was speaking to someone about it recently, and they says, I said to him, look, all my life I've been restless. I'm always like wanting to do stuff. I'm always active. As you said before, I'm up at 4:30 and just all go. And it's due to that. They said it's because you're premature.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's probably that's why I'm so mischievous.
So obviously from as you got older, that was your baby life, I suppose.
Yeah.
As you got to the age 15, 16, what was life like then? What's going on, guys? If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you scroll down. We're now live on Spotify, so you can watch us while you're driving, listen to us while you're in the gym. Pretty much just listen to us anywhere. And make sure you give us a 5-star review on Spotify. Thank you.
Life was good, honestly. I mean, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but at that time you didn't have social media. You just played out all day and football and cricket and whatever. And
family life, mum, dad.
Yeah. Mum and dad. Like I says, I had older brother who's 12 years older.
Yeah.
So it's a small family. Since then, obviously, I've made up for it with my 7 kids.
Yeah,
it was good.
You heard it right, 7 kids.
So my dad, what it was he worked away.
Okay.
He worked in Denmark. So he used to come over every few months, and it'd be like Christmas. Every few months he'd come over, he'd bring me loads of presents, and he was a very loving guy. He passed away 12 years ago.
Oh wow, sorry to hear.
Yeah, he was law abiding. Never even had a parking ticket. He's the type of guy, if a policeman knocked on the door, he'd be mortified.
Yeah.
So life was good. School was, again, I was naughty, but
it was normal. You weren't nothing out of the ordinary.
No, I was just cheeky. But again, I keep on saying my attention span was very, very small. So I'd get into trouble for little things. But I enjoyed school, went to school. It's when we started college is when I started to get into credit cards. And it was the first year, I think we're talking 88, 89, quite a long time ago. You probably wasn't even born then.
So by credit cards, you mean credit card fraud, of course?
Yeah, credit card fraud. What it was in our class, we had a foreign student,
Yeah.
And we decided to steal his identity.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we used to have NUS cards and certain things. So what we did was we made up ID, and then we redirected his post to address that we had access to. So in them days, you used to have checkbooks, and you used to have a certain limit, like £50.
Yeah.
So we ordered like 2 checkbooks. I think there was 30 pages on each one, and I got my mate, and we went shopping. Well, I got him to go in the shops, because at that time I didn't have the balls to front it myself. And when we first did it, it wasn't to make money. It was just to get these
buzz as well. What's going on? I hope you're all enjoying the episode so far. Make sure you all scroll down, hit subscribe. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. At 10,000 subscribers, there's going to be an amazing episode that's already planned in the pipeline. So hit subscribe.
Yeah, it was a buzz. And the fact is, a lot of the stuff I give away to my mates.
Yeah.
I never, in my wildest dreams, thought, I was going to say a career, but it's not a career, is it? Make a living out of it, let's say. So we started from that, and then we grew. We started building it up, doing various limits on cards, and then the touch was that I met a girl.
Oh yeah.
I met a girl. I met a few in my time, but I didn't marry this one.
The one that got away, yeah.
Yeah, in a certain way, the one that got away. Well, she did get away, because she was never caught, never to be seen.
Fair enough.
And last time I spoke to her, she was in America somewhere. So this girl, the touch was that she worked for American Express.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so in them days, American Express, even now, is big.
Yeah, if you got an American Express, back then as well, you was someone. Now anyone can
like
get
a black card. Yeah, so we met her, I got talking to her, and she told us she worked for American Express. I was like, right, no way. No.
In your head, all them bells are going, you're like...
Yeah, exactly, you know what I mean? My brain's ticking, I'm thinking, wow, no way. So gained the confidence, took her out a few times, and then just said, little by little, started to get information off her, a certain amount of information.
Yeah.
Don't forget, this is pre-internet, so we had to do a lot of research ourselves. So there's only a certain amount she could give. She couldn't just give you the full access. Because then
did she know what she was doing, or was it more of a?
No, at the beginning, I don't know.
Did you as in make it clear this is what we're doing, or was it more of a, what's that name, or what's this?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. We didn't make it clear, because I didn't want to scare
her off.
Yeah, I didn't want to scare her off. So she started to give us a certain amount of information, and what we'd do is we'd buy a lot of the glossy mags, Hello, Vanity Fair, stuff like that. And there was these books. They were like the Holy Grail. They were called Who's Who in the Arab World.
Okay.
So in that, he'd have a lot of the
Arab... Like the rich list?
Yes. But he'd have a lot of the details, information and stuff. I mean, they were quite expensive at the time. They were like £100 for a book in them days.
It's big money for a book.
Yeah. So through the glossy mags and her, that's when we started to hit the big league. We've gone from small fry to doing big orders. It could be anything. It could be phones, anything that was on the market that was going. Like phones just come out. I remember one time we ordered like 50 flip phones.
Yeah.
We flooded Manchester. Anything, mate. I mean, there was a time when I bought a car and I wanted a nice stereo. So I decided to get a nice stereo for myself, but then we thought we'll buy 100.
Oh shit!
And then
So you're doing big bits at this point, you weren't?
Yeah. We're doing bits, and it's all profit, and we're using couriers. You'd never see my face, so I was basically hidden behind the phone, making these orders, and this is now we're making money.
Big money as well.
Yeah, we're getting around. We're making money. We're in Cheetham Mill, and Cheetham Mill. In them days, and even now, is quite a dangerous place. So in a sense, we're getting noticed as well.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. Because I mean, at 21, I had a Porsche.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I couldn't drive, but I had a Porsche. You know, but you'd say, obviously, to your family, you say, "Oh yeah, no, I borrowed it, this and that." You know, you just make excuses. And we were traveling around the world. Vegas in them days wasn't heard of, and we were going Vegas. But back in the day when the MGM was like the biggest hotel there, I remember going Vegas when the Bellagio was getting built.
Oh wow.
Yeah, going to Tyson fights and hanging out with Tupac and Will Smith.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So you was living it up proper. You weren't.
Yeah, we was living it up proper, man. It was just. It's like, imagine if you won the lottery. Instead, we was doing on other people's credit cards.
Yeah. Other people were paying for the trips, I suppose.
Yeah, and these other people were mostly only rich or famous. You know, that it was. We're talking mostly the rich Arabs, and you'd even sometimes. I remember having details of Mary J. Blige. The soul singer, she was bankrupt. I remember at one time we even had Princess Diana's credit card details. So obviously we didn't want MI5 after us, and it's pre-terrorism and this and that. But it was just crazy times.
So look, talk to us. I want to understand the whole process that happened from impersonating the Sultan of Brunei and tricking the jewelers into obviously handing you over millions of pounds worth of jewels, right?
Yeah.
Tell us how that begun and obviously how it ended up, and of course everyone knows you was arrested for it. What happened? How did you get caught? Talk us through that whole story.
Right, so we're talking, it was 1997.
Yeah.
So we've decided now this is it. We want one big hit, and then we're going to retire. You know, we stop doing this Mickey Mouse stuff. We're going big. So we were holed up in a flat in Manchester.
How many of your team was there?
There was people that came in and out, but on this there was 3 of us, and there was the fourth was the prince, my mate who played the prince, but he came in at the end. But he'd already over the years we'd done trips to, like, I'll give you an example. I remember he was with us at that time. 3 of us went to Thailand.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we're in Thailand. We're going on holiday, and the last thing you want to do is commit, a crime in Thailand. You don't want to be ended up at the Bangkok Hilton. No. So out of boredom, we says, you know what, let's get some clothes. So I thought, right, okay. So started to make some phone calls, and what we decided is there was Giorgio Armani. Yeah. So what I said to my mate, the other 2, I said, right, okay, I'll do the transactions on the phone. You used to go
and collect it.
Yeah, and I remember being on the phone, and I was knackered. We've been there a few late nights, and I was on the phone to him doing the transaction, and I nodded off.
You fell asleep on the phone?
Mate, I've nodded off, and they've rang the hotel, and next the door's going, because they've got the port to knock on, because the transaction's not gone through, and I mean they shut the shop down for us. It was I remember my mate was telling me the manager was.
How much was you planning on spending? Like, how much was this transaction for?
Well, I think it was about 28,000, but you gotta remember, for clothes,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, like.
And back then as well, money's different now.
Oh, mate.
So 50 grand back then is like fucking 150 now.
Absolutely. Well, put it this way, they needed about 4 taxis to bring it over. So you got the port, he's banging on the door. I woke up and I shit myself, because I had papers, stuff that I written down, credit card. So I ran in the toilet and I started to flush it. Didn't realise. Anyway, transaction goes through.
It went through.
Yeah, it goes through. But what happens is the workers, they're saying, look, we'll take it to the hotel for you. Obviously, we don't want him to come back to the hotel. So I told my mate, said, no. So I said, we were staying at the Hilton, and there was another 5-star down the road. I think it was called the Oriental, and I said to him, go there.
Yeah.
So I made him go there, and then
Bring it all back.
Yeah. So because you got to think, you're on the go, you got to think fast, and that was one of the stories, and he was with us at that time, and we could have been locked up there, mate.
That could have been a long day in Thailand.
Mate, it would have been a long sentence.
Yeah, Thailand's not a joke.
So going back to the high. So 3 of us were doing research, we're reading the mags. At that time, what had happened is the girl from the credit card, she'd moved along. So this was we got to a stage where we knew all the ropes, we learned it all, we knew that there were certain things that they look at, spending patterns, but when you're dealing with rich people, it's unlimited money, and once you get certain, I'd have that much information, let's say it was you, I'd have at hand, I'd have your passport number, your national insurance number, what you spent in the last few months, there's only a certain amount they can ask you, and what we do is, when we're building up to it, it's like a jigsaw. So American Express is worldwide. So I'd ring Brazil, I'd get a certain amount of information. Then I'd ring Spain, and
get a bit more.
Yeah. So before we even did a transaction, I'd have that much information where there's no way they could say no. So we're doing this research, and we stumbled upon Bijan jewelers in Beverly Hills. Read that Tyson had been there buying a fur coat for 50 grand. So looked into it and realised the Sultan of Brunei had been there or inquired a few months earlier. So thought, okay, so there's
a pattern.
Yeah, there's a pattern there. So we rang them up, and just making inquiries, making contacts. Initially, we just spoke about, the thing is, when you're rich, you never speak about money, because money doesn't matter. So we got speaking, built up a rapport with one of the guys who we were dealing with, and this went on for a little while, because at the same time we was doing bijan. We were looking at other countries, we were looking at the bays in Australia, looking at our jewelers in Singapore. So it was a case of...
Which one?
Yeah. And then eventually we said, right, this is the one, Bijan's the one. We told them that we were going to have a wedding in London, and we want them to come over. We'd arrange everything, and we just said we wanted obviously we wanted the best
of the best.
Yeah. And they were up for it. They've probably seen the dollar signs and thought, right, the commission. So I thought to myself, if you was on the other side, how would you like
investigate it, check that it's real, kind of thing?
Yeah. So this honestly, we didn't leave this flat for 3 weeks. The blinds were done, and we were stuck in there. Yeah, built up a rapport with them. Started speaking. I'd be on the phone to them, asking them about the families and so. Don't forget.
Who was you pretending to be at this point?
I wasn't pretending to be the Sultan of Brunei. I was pretending to be one of his aides, because he's just like,
he's not going to speak to no one, is he?
No, exactly. So we built up a good rapport, and eventually, so what I did was, I thought to go big, to bring them over, I'm going to have to get a Learjet, a Gulfstream Learjet.
Yeah.
So I got a banker's credit card from Belgium, and had a Learjet.
Oh shit! You actually...
Yeah, 150. in 150 grand just to pick him up and bring him to London. I had a Learjet, and you know, I'm thinking these guys, you know, what they're thinking. This is it. This is a once in a lifetime trip. With, you know, we're talking a royal wedding, which they're going to be invited to.
They're thinking they've hit the jackpot in their head.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we arranged the Learjet, picked him up, and brought him to London. And when they got to London, I've had another limousine off a different credit card with a bouquet of flowers. Because man and woman, flowers for the lady. They've been driven to Sheraton Hotel.
So in their head, this is the real deal.
It is, mate. I think I actually thought I was the Sultan of Brunei.
But it's like literally, you've been on a private jet. You've now got in a limousine. No one's going to question it. No one's going to think,
Flowers, the small details.
Yeah, no one's going to think, is this real? Is it not real?
The whole operation cost me about £70. The £70 was
a little Nokia phone.
It was a phone, you know, because they wanted a contact, and there was a time I remember. Because what had happened is we had the palace's number, Sultan Brunei's, the palace's number. So what's happened is we've given it to him, and we presumed, obviously, when they called, they're not going to get through. It's like ringing the Queen.
Yeah.
You're not going to get through, or the King, I should say, through to him. So what we did was give him the number and presumed they've called it, and then rang him back off this mobile. It was a pay-as-you-go phone, and in them days the pay-as-you-go phone had just come out.
Yeah.
So what had happened is I said to my mate, go and buy a phone, but don't buy it from the shops. Go to like a market trader where there's no cameras. But him being lazy, he's gone to a Woolworths, which was just round the corner from my house in Cheetham Hill. This Woolworths, they keep their surveillance for 3 months. Would you serious, mate? So later on, what's happened is when they decided to do their investigations, they realised this phone was bought in Manchester in Woolworths, and they've got the footage of a guy going in, an Asian guy going in buying a phone. So later on, that was one of the ways we got caught. So this kid sent him to Woolworths, comes back with the phone. So what I've done is, one time, I rang him up and I said, ran in the kitchen, I turned the extractor hood on, and I said I was on an aeroplane, private jet, when I was sat in Cheetham Hill. You know, so some of the things we did was crazy. Honestly, even talking to you and remembering it back, it's a long time ago, some of the details.
But the buzz you must have been getting from that was something unreal. Like this planning it, executing it, all of that. You must have been thinking you were in a TV show. You must have thought it was a movie.
Honestly, did. You know, I mean, listen, I don't drink or do drugs. That was my drug.
Yeah.
It was, you know, the fact is, if you're pulling that off, I mean, I remember when it happened, the Daily Mirror put it as one of the top 10 scams of all time. You had Brinks Matt was number 1, and then you had us somewhere in the middle, because when it happened, obviously no one was caught.
Yeah.
And I remember reading the headline, 2 pages. Yeah, Sultan of Sting. That was the headline. So even because we didn't get caught they were following us for about 6 months. My mate, the Prince, he got caught first.
1 second, throw it back a little bit. So they've obviously been picked up.
I told you I'd keep on going back and forth.
So throw it back to where you've picked them up in the limousine, drove them to the hotel.
No, we've not picked.
No.
Yeah,
Your limousines. Picked
so the
them up.
limousines, they've been picked up. They've been driven to the hotel, and now we're holed up in Manchester. We're thinking, how are we going to get this jewellery off him?
So have they come with the jewels? They've got all the jewels.
They've come with a box, yeah, with emeralds, sapphires. There was about 30 pieces, from watches to
necklaces, rings, everything.
Yeah. And the clarity, the VVS, nearly as good as your watch there.
I think it was a little bit better than mine.
But like it says,
Were they security, anything like that?
no, mate.
No security. Just
No
two
security.
bods turn up, man and
Well,
woman.
man and woman turn up, yeah.
Idiots.
You know, well, it's just
But to be fair, they think they're serving the Sultan of Brunei.
Yeah.
Who's going to bring security to that? The man's worth £1 trillion. This is baby money for him, what he's spent. That's what they're in their heads.
yeah, no, absolutely. That's how the rich do it. You
And
know?
there's been no transaction up until this point.
No transaction, no deposits, even to the fact that when they've landed, like I said to you before, it's been disputed. They say a minimum of $2.5 million to $5 million it was at the time, because what I said to him was, don't declare it. You know, when the customs have come on the plane, don't declare, because I was thinking ahead.
Yeah.
If it comes to a trial, I could turn around and say, what jewelry?
Yeah.
There's no proof. So they didn't declare it, and I said to him the reason was because we didn't want to pay VAT on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Standard.
it has always been disputed.
So then what happened? They've obviously gone.
So they've gone to the Sheraton, they've had a meal, I'm on the phone to him constantly. At the same time, I'm thinking, I don't want to see him face to face, because that'll put me in danger later on. So I remember at the time, we thought, you know what, we'll bring him up to Manchester. How do you get him up to Manchester? We said, do you fancy watching a Manchester United game?
Yeah.
At that time, United were in the prime. So what I did was I rang up United, inquired about a box, said it was for the Sultan of Brunei. So if you Google famous fans, he's in that list, but it was actually me. Or maybe he is a fan. Maybe he's going to buy him now.
Probably
I
will.
bloody hope so, mate. Bloody hope so. So they've been wine dying that night, and that's when I thought, bring my man into it.
Yeah.
He lived in London, and he was a cool guy. So because you can't have anyone
Pretended to be the Sultan.
Yeah, I mean you could pull it off.
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. So I've just told him the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't want to scare him off. Didn't tell him anything about millions. I just said to him, look, get dressed up. You're going to get picked up. He gets picked up in a limousine. No, sorry, he gets picked up in one limousine, and there's 3 in front of him and 3 behind him.
So you had a proper convoy.
Yeah. So we hired a SAS bodyguard. So the next morning, I've said to him over the phone that the Sultan of Brunei wants to view the jewellery in private at the Dorchester. So when the limousines pull up,
7 limousines.
7 limousines, mate.
It's not a joke.
These limousines pull up. My mate's just sat in the back, living it. He's on the phone to me. And what we said to the bodyguard was go over. And over the phone, I've told him anyway.
Yeah.
And he's gone over for this big parcel. And later on in court, in their interviews, they said the SAS bodyguard snatched it off him. There's no reason for him to snatch it. He's doing his job. He's just collected it. He's passed it to my guy. He sat in the limousine. He sat there. And so I said to him, look, tell the chauffeur to drive off. They've driven off, and apparently that's when panic's setting. He's driven off. They've gone just down the road. I said to him, as soon as you can, get the chauffeur. In fact, sorry, I want him to get out of the car and leg it. What's happened is the chauffeur. These are little touches. No. What's happened is he's got a weak bladder, so he's pulled over.
Who, the chauffeur has?
The chauffeur has had to get out to go to the toilet. So I go, what's going on? My mate saying, oh yeah, the chauffeur's gone for a piss. I go, you fucking taking a piss? Get the fuck out of there. Get out of the car. Boom, gone. Tube, home.
And he's got the big box.
Chauffeur's come back. He's got a phone call. Sorry. Let's run it back. So what's happened is, as they've driven off, the batteries ran out on the phone. The phone that he's only used the chauffeur's phone, called back, and
That's
was
put two and two together.
that's where they've realised there was the connection was the phones. Later on, that's when we had to hold our hands up. The battery runs out. But the thing is, he's got away. He's got this parcel. He's gone home. Told him to open it up, and he's opened it up, and I think he passed out because I didn't hear from him for about 2 minutes. I think he realised, oh shit, we've just gone big time. So the next day, what I've done is, I've made him catch a train to Leeds, not Manchester, Leeds. I've driven up there. I've got the box off him. I said, right, you go home and sit tight, because I thought, you're getting a knock on the door, yeah? So don't worry, but you'll get looked after. He's gone home. I've got this box. I've done the same. I've opened up, nearly passed out. Seriously.
And when you opened that box, what were the first thoughts that went through your head? Because you're now looking at life-changing money. Like, these diamonds and jewels, were they unbelievable?
Unreal, mate. Unreal. It's like Aladdin's cave. You open up and forget sunglasses. It was just bright. Thank God I had the fucking curtains done, because it was just, I'm not doing it justice. It's just, it's nothing that I've seen and will ever see again. Maybe on TV. But yeah, it's just the clarity of the stuff. Like, you had different colours. You had sapphires, emeralds.
Yeah.
You had the biggest value. One item was the $500,000 necklace, 4-sided. So going back to them, they've panicked. They've panicked. Sirens have gone off. The police have been called, and this and that. And their statement was, the SS bodyguard who's doing his job snatched it off him. Wasn't the case. He took it off him, passed it to my mate, who disappeared, and the jewellery was never to be seen ever again.
And has it,
one piece.
Has it been found up until now?
No, not as far as I know.
Okay.
There was one piece that the guy who went to Woolworths, so that was his cut.
What did he get caught with? What did they find on him?
So he, the clever kid that he was, what he's done is, he's got his one watch. I think it's worth 100 grand.
What watch was it?
It's like your watch. It wasn't like an AP or...
It was just iced out.
Yeah, just iced out with obviously bijan. So that's his cut. And he's been caught red-handed. He's got that newspaper cutting that I was telling you about from the Daily Mirror.
Yeah.
Sultan a sting on his wall. Yeah. And so he's been caught red-handed.
Yeah, he's busted.
So him and the prince has been caught, and they've been put into Brixton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this time, I know the following, wherever I'm going, the following.
You're under Obo, basically. People are watching you.
Yeah, because what happened was when I've got raided, there's like about 20 police officers out my house, mate. Wow. They were all over. They thought I was going to jump out the back, when I got raided, at the same time, 14 houses got raided. Anything
14.
Like at that
anything
time,
related. If you come around my house, you're getting raided, basically.
Yes. I mean, we were playing cat and mouse with them. I remember there was a van parked just a few doors away from my house, and I was banging on the van, or ordering pizzas to him. I mean, I'm always suspicious anyway.
Yeah. So
we were paranoid, and the main thing for me was I knew they were going to come, because the word back was from the other two, the prince and the other guy.
How did the prince get caught?
I think what it was is when he got picked up at the airport. I think there was some type of surveillance, even though it was minimum. There was some type of surveillance.
There was something to
Plus, he was the fact that you had the chauffeur, you could ID him, the SAS bodyguard. He probably had a memory like yours.
My memory's not too bad.
So, they've been lifted, and I'm getting word back. Listen, we ain't doing time. Yeah, they've never been in trouble before, you know. So you don't know how someone's gonna react.
Yeah.
Till the shit is a fan, you know. You could be a brother or someone lifelong friend, but when you're in that cell, you know, that's when you realise who's got it, who's not. I won't mind, because it was a white collar crime. We weren't looking at big time. It wasn't like the Brinks Mat. You're looking at 20 years. You're looking at a few years and you're out.
Yeah.
You know, it was nothing. But I think what happened was, I think the cops got to him. You know,
Scared him a little bit.
Yeah, and not only that, because it was in the papers and stuff. You know, we knew it was gonna. You know, it's big, and so I'm getting word back. You know, we tried. I tried with the guy with the guy in Manchester. Tried to approach his family. You know, offered them money and stuff, but nah, mate. So I had to hold my hands up. You know.
Would you hand yourself in?
No, what happened was, we got arrested, and they interviewed us, and they didn't have nothing on me. It was just, you know, deep down, I think they knew, you know, So I got out on bail. One of my codees got out on bail, and so we was out for 6 months. In that time, it gave me enough time to put down the things. And because my only issue was if I get caught, or when I get caught, that they don't get the jewellery.
So when they raided your house, they didn't find nothing?
Well, they had a statement saying that I passed a bag to someone, and they believed the jewellery was in that bag. But they didn't raid us. That's the only thing they said, because they had surveillance. In that bag, mate, it was just a sandwich for my mate. There was no jewellery in it. So we've been arrested and taken in. We were kept in. I was kept in for 3 days in Manchester, and at that time, I got feedback that they knew what happened, you know, and their main concern was obviously to find the jewellery.
Yeah,
they're gonna get some type of convictions. So I thought, right, you know, I'm gonna have to hold my hands up, because it's gonna be a cutthroat defence. You're blaming me, I'm blaming you. We're both gonna go down. So whoever I can try and save, I'll save, and hope that I get, you know,
minimal time. Yeah,
minimum term. Already knew it was a white collar crime, so I wasn't expecting much. But what had happened was, because it was in the papers and it was national, and involved the Sultan of Brunei, they really wanted to, you know, slam us.
Yeah.
So
make an example of you guys.
Yeah. So gone in, held my hands up, said right, yeah, and we went to trial. So what I did was I hired one of the best QCs in Britain.
Yeah.
A guy called Jonathan Goldberg. He represented Kenneth Noy.
Mm-hmm.
He's big time. So I hired him and held our hands up. Now, we had a choice to run a trial. We would have run a trial, it would have been big, you know, for the taxpayers. Because remember I told you it was 5 countries. Yeah. We actually, when I was saying to you, in Australia, we've ordered Timberlands. Yeah. So we're doing millions of pound jewellery. At the same time, we still want our clothes. We ordered a load of Timberlands that came over, and some tracksuits. So there was like 5 counts of robbery, and then you had the final count, which was, you know, millions. Got found guilty. Well, threw our hands in, and I was expecting, to be honest, I was expecting 2 years, but I got practically double, 3.5 years. I did 6 months in Brixton, 6 months in Wandsworth, 23-hour bang-up, proper old-school jails. And that's where we met one of the guys who took some of the pieces. He was in for doing the VAT. Like he had all the bondage warehouses in Britain. And I think when people used to bring booze in, you know, illegally, he was in for big time. So what he was doing is, he had so much money, he was just buying things and buying art, and he'd just put it down. He was in for millions. So that's where I met him in Brixton, and later on, he's the guy who had the jewellery.
Oh, he bought some of the jewellery.
Yeah, yeah. In court, they said, "Where's the jewellery?" And I had a gambling debt with the Russian mafia.
Yeah.
So the rest went to them.
Obviously, he's took the pieces, done whatever he wanted to do with them, and
so before he took the pieces, I had to show him, the necklace I was telling you.
But how can you show him it when you're locked up, right?
No, because what happened was I was out on remand for 6. I got out on remand.
On bail.
Yeah.
Yeah. You was on remand,
Sorry.
but they bailed you.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm on remand. They bailed me, so I've got out. Yeah. So I've got this £500,000 necklace. So I've got it round my neck. Put a jacket on.
Let's be serious now, yeah? We can all imagine £500,000 on your neck. Weren't you like thinking, what the fuck am I doing with this round my neck?
Well, listen, the thing is, if I'm not going to do it,
Who is?
who is? And if someone else gets it and they take it, I can't ring the police.
Yeah. Hi, officer. I robbed a jeweller's for £500,000 necklace. Can you help?
So I'm in a taxi, going to a show, going for a meet, and we're going past. I'll never forget it. I think I lost a few pounds in weight. We're going past the MEN Arena where the bomb went off a few years back, and the taxi gets pulled over.
No way.
I'm sat in the back. I'm shaking, and what it was they were checking taxis for the taxi plates. He's looked in the back. Sorry, mate, not going to be long. You'll be on your way soon. Seriously, I thought I was going to get caught red-handed.
And this is when you're on remand as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so you're thinking, I've been busted here. They've caught me.
So that was probably, the scariest thing that happened on remand. And we had to be careful because, like I said to you, from Cheetham Hill, you've got a lot of well-known people, violent people.
So you sold that necklace to that gent, obviously. Can you disclose how much you sold it to him for?
Oh, seriously, I can't remember. Put it this way, was it a credit card transaction?
Okay,
it was cash only. It wasn't no IOUs.
And the rest of the jewels?
They just...
disappeared.
Yeah, disappeared.
And obviously so from my understanding, what I can see is you've done that, you've made things, but the problem is wolves have ears. The local boys around the town, they must have heard. Everyone must have known it was you guys and your little team, no?
By that time, people, because we've been doing it for a long time.
So didn't you get any knocks on the door from the local naughty boys saying, yo...
Because I was born and bred in Cheetham Hill, so, I had connections. I had a good friend of mine called Aki, who's passed away. But he was one of the main heads, and there's one or two other guys. So over the years, you'd say if I got a decent watch or something,
you'd look after him.
Yeah, and because talking of that, I remember when I bought the Porsche, and I was driving it around, and he pulled me on it. He said, because he didn't even he'd never driven a Porsche. So he said to me, he goes, and I was flapping. I was thinking, fucking hell, what if he just says, get out? What am I gonna do? So I said to him, oh yeah, it's my brother's. So he just went for a spin and just gave me the keys back. But yeah, no. Luckily for me, because I was born and bred in Cheetham Hill, I knew. Yeah. Listen, I ain't got a violent bone in my body, but I do. I've got some good friends out there.
And what was prison like?
Prison was what it should be. Like I said to you, I did it proper. The old school prisons, 23-hour bang up. You couldn't even get a shower. You had to put an application in for a shower.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it's fucking, what it's like down your way. Fucking water shit anyway.
Thanks, mate.
Fucking hell, no, I was stepping in and out, it's so hot. Even to make a phone call, you'd have to put an app in.
And did you have kids and a family at this point?
So what had happened is, my wife at the time, she was pregnant. So when I got out on bail, Samira, my daughter, was born.
Wow, lovely.
So luckily I got to see her being born, but I remember later on when I'd been in for a while getting the first picture and the changing of her from a baby to, you know, even though it wasn't long, to me, I started crying. I was thinking, you know, I missed, you know, certain things in life you miss, you know, seeing her grow up a little, like it says, you know, she's gone from a baby to like stood up.
Yeah.
And I remember that picture, it just stays with me. I was scared for my parents in the sense, you know, something happens to them, it's like you don't exist.
How did your mum and dad?
My dad was distraught. You know, he's never done nothing wrong in his life. He's never even had a parking ticket. He was distraught. And being from I think, you know, he's probably worried about the Asian community. You know,
What they're going to think of you.
Yeah. But what happened is over the years, I think, you know, some of his friends, like, you know, when they used to speak to him, told him, look, it was quite comical in what they did. It's quite clever, and they didn't murder anyone. They weren't selling drugs, you know. But at the same time, it was a crime and it was wrong.
Yeah.
So I think over the years, he was fine. I mean, I remember the first time he come to see me at Brixton. He was a big man, and you know, when he come through, I think the humiliation of getting patted down and whatnot. He started crying, and that touched me. You know what I mean? I thought, fuck, man, you know, you're putting your family through this, you know, and that's why, you know, I never went back.
Yeah.
You know, I've had friends who've gone to prison, they've lost their parents, and they've gone to funerals in handcuffs, and that was like one of my worst nightmares. If that happened, you know, no money in the world can, you know.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's
Yeah.
Nothing relates to that.
Absolutely.
So you know what? I got to be honest with you. I'm sitting here talking to you, and it feels like I've watched this as I'm on a movie or something. It feels like genuinely a TV show. You must have had some people approach you and ask to do something.
Funny you say that. I've actually had a film made up.
Seriously?
Yeah. It's called Plastic. But
you know what? I think I've watched it. As you was telling me the whole thing, I was like, I swear I've seen this.
Yeah, it's got Alfie Allen, Will Poulter, who've gone really big now. It's got a few good British actors in it. So,
Yeah.
But before that, when I came out of prison, I was approached by Channel 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was approached by Channel 4. And to be honest with you, I thought it was a wind-up because it wasn't really heard of.
Yeah.
That, you know, you've come out of prison and someone wants to do a documentary. And so I get approached, and I thought, again, I was a bit paranoid. I thought, this is a wind-up. Went back and forth. They took me out a few times. I got my solicitor involved because I thought, I don't trust anyone, especially coming out of prison. And they made a documentary, and it was called The Art of Crime. There was 4 documentaries, crime ones, and mine got the biggest views before internet. And I remember my QC, Jonathan Goldberg, I think the beginning line was, these guys could have been anything they ever wanted. You know, they were that clever, just that they ended up on the wrong side of the law. So that happened. I signed a 2-year retainer for them to do a film, and nothing materialised.
Oh, really?
No, so just got back on it, carried on with life, and I get approached by another film company based in Manchester who wanted to do a film. They signed me up on a retainer, give me some money, and nothing materialises, carry on with life. And 2012 is when I got approached by Gateway Films. They made films about the Essex Boys, on your way. They made the Rise of the Foot Soldier. From 1 to about 10. There's more of them than my wives. So I get approached, and when I got approached, what it was the gym that I went to. It's like David Lloyd's. It's quite an exclusive gym, and one of my friends, She's a bit of a rich housewife, and it was her brother-in-law. He owned the film company. So she was in London, and they said, "What you working on now?" And she says, "I want to make a film about credit card fraud." She said, "What about the lad from Manchester? He did a diamond heist." And he said, "You know what? I've seen the documentary. Can you arrange a meeting?" So that's how it came about. She's come back and asked me, and this was years on, so I didn't think nothing was going to happen. But we had a meeting. They offered me a certain amount of money, but me being a blagger, I just turned around and said, "No,
I want more."
Yeah, I want more. I want royalties. And he goes, "Look, I can't sanction this. I'm going to have to go back and speak to my partners." And as he said that, I thought, fucking hell, have you fucking, this is probably the one chance you've got.
And
you blew it. And he's gone away. And 3 days it was, I was rattling. And he's come back, and they give me the royalties. They give me everything that they promised me. They gave me the bang on. And so they had the script, and what they did was they put my heist in at the end. But looking back, I think the film was, what they should have done was made it in Manchester with Asian kids,
done it exactly the same way it was.
They just glamorized it with like shootings and this and that to make it Hollywood.
Yeah.
But like at that time, it wasn't for me to tell them what, because what do I know about the film game?
Yeah.
So, but look, in hindsight, I definitely think there's another film if anyone wants to do it. I think it'd be something like Catch Me If You Can, stroke East is East, because of my background. So, so when they signed the deal, and they flew me out to Miami for
Nice.
film. Yeah, they got me 2 business class tickets, and I decided to take my ex-wife. Before you say which one, that's number 2. And we fly over there, and this is the first time I've been back to America since what I've done.
Yeah.
So I was flapping, and we get there, and they fucking put us in the back. We're in customs, 5 hours in, getting interrogated. I'm thinking they're gonna ship me back. Anyway, eventually the releases.
Yeah.
And what happens is, I think I left my wallet there.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah. So when we get our baggage, I think I left my wallet there, and I'm in Miami doing a film about credit card fraud, and for them few days, someone was shopping on my card. How ironic is that?
Oh my god!
Seriously, yeah. So I had to get on the phone, and when I got back, I had to get on the phone.
They definitely didn't believe you. They're probably thinking, "Shut up."
Oh mate, it was karma. So, right, going back to the film, I get approached, Plastic, get involved from start to finish. Paramount get involved.
That's big.
Yeah, Paramount get involved. So I had to do the red carpet interviews with BBC, GQ, whatnot. It was a great, the experience was great.
Yeah.
But I just think, looking back, the film, there's definitely another film, because it was just too Hollywood, and
You want a bit more from the streets, as it should be,
as it was,
proper, raw,
based in Manchester.
Manchester people doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but let's see what happens, because at the moment I'm in negotiations of a book deal.
Oh, wicked.
Books never happen. Everything, few documentaries, Vice, GQ, this, that, and the other. But so let's hope the book happens, and then maybe another film.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you got any other stories to tell us?
Back in the day, we were doing credit cards of a guy called Adnan Khashoggi. He was an arms dealer. He just recently died.
Oh, wow.
So we were doing his card, and we had a guy who used to pick up stuff for us called Tony the Greek.
All right.
And what's happened is he was outside a snooker club just around the corner called Rainbows on Oxford Road in Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
He's come out and he was shot, killed.
Oh, shit.
So we have obviously shit ourselves, because we was thinking, we're doing this arms deal, this credit card. Next thing you know, Tony, who's doing work for us, has been shot. Bang. So,
And what happened there? Did you find out who done it?
No, well, I didn't find out. It was all over the papers and stuff, but no.
And was he a big name in the community?
Who, Tony? No, Tony wasn't, because that's why he was doing low-level stuff for us. But God rest his soul, got killed.
Wow, and that probably made the whole team shit themselves. Well,
yeah,
fuck.
Absolutely. So we just laid low for a while and just got back on it.
You had to. It's what you was doing.
So that's it.
Well, listen, honestly, it was a pleasure having you on the show. I don't think there's many people who can give a raw heist background and talk about impersonating people. And that was, like I said, when I was listening to it, it genuinely sounded like a movie. And I agree with what you said. There is definitely room in the industry for someone to make a proper movie about that, because I think if they do it properly, it will be an unreal movie. But genuinely amazing having you on here. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Guys, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and pop over to his Instagram. Go give him a follow. And hopefully we've got a movie coming out soon.